Chapter 16. Spirit Grove. Prior to the creation of the seclusion suites in the temple, the Spirit Grove was the ideal place for Estolians to go for their seclusion. Quiet, beautiful, and mystical, it was, and still is, a place where anyone can step away from the stresses and strains of modern life and go back to a simpler time. Many Estolians believe that it is easier to speak with, and be heard by, deity from within the Spirit Grove than most other places in Estolia. Meredith Zakarian, History of Estolia. The next day, as the sun sank towards the horizon, the two brothers walked through the Spiritwood forest. Zakarian used the carved wooden cane Amador had fashioned for him. The sharp bite on his calf was only just beginning to take on the glow of healthy healing. Both wounds had been serious, and it was only the skill and quick thinking of Estolia that kept him alive. Once it is full dark, Amador said to him, "You are free to be alone with and claim your Kaylee." Zakarian stopped and their eyes met. "What will it be like?" "I heard Father once say that, while incomprehensible to contemplate yielding up your soul, when it actually happens it is like the pleasure of that first moment, coupling with the woman you love, when her body takes yours in, surrounded by the grip of purity and innocence, filled with the pleasure of knowing her. It is as if your body remains wedded to hers, that warmth of intimacy with you for the rest of your life." "I shall have to share my impressions with you after seclusion," Zakarian said. Sebastian and Key both believe it is essential we record everything of note in our lives, so that our descendants might learn from us and keep Father's promise to deity. Anxious, Zakarian asked, "You are sure that tomorrow is the anniversary of my birth?" He did not wish to jeopardize the land his father had spent his life building up. "Yes, Zakarian, I am certain. Once the sun has fully set, so that no glimmer of sunlight remains, you are free to place your soul in Estolia's keeping. She will be your Kaylee, and she will bring a son to grace your alliance." As they waited for the sun to set, Zakarian blurted out, "How can I be sure that she is right for me?" He knew only that Estolia had shown him her aura. Father promised deity that his children, particularly his firstborn son, would keep his word. Has it never occurred to you what that means? When Zakarian would have responded, Amador shook his head and answered his own question. "It means that you, as the heir, have less freedom when it comes to your future, both in what you do and who you marry. You cannot simply study the dyes of promessa, or the production of fabrics. Nor do you marry at your own leisure. You must accept that deity will select your Kaylee and that it is your duty to give your soul into her keeping upon this night, and, in 7 days, receive confirmation that your union is accepted." They were quiet for some time. It was only after he finished bathing and dressing that Amador asked him, "Are you unhappy with Estolia as your Kaylee?" Zakarian remembered the glow of her aura, and the warmth of her expression. All other considerations aside, he desired her, wanted her with an acute need. "She fascinates me, draws me in. I do not think I could deny her, even if she tempted me to break Father's promise." Amador touched the new bandage on the healing wound to his upper arm. "Perhaps this is why you sustained this injury, as deity knows your strengths and weaknesses, and would not give you a temptation beyond your ability to withstand. Deity will always look out for us in this way." The two brothers heard several wind instruments and their eyes met. It was time for Zakarian to meet his destiny and fulfill his father's promise, thus securing the happiness, safety, and health of his people. When Estolia walked towards him, Zakarian did not remember any of his misgivings or questions. Her aura danced around her, in it he could see her emotions, joy, happiness, love, amusement, and mother love. He had a vision of a baby cradled in her arms, lips at her breast, a smile gracing her beautiful mouth. He walked towards her slowly, drinking in that and other visions, his eyes never leaving hers. When he extended his hand to her, she took it without hesitation. Heat spread from their joined hands as he pulled her into his arms, each point of contact stoking the flames within them. He brushed his lips against hers for several heartbeats. Everything else faded in the background. It was only the sound of a throat being cleared that reminded him that they were not alone. The sun was racing towards the edge of the world, but it was not yet down. "Come," Zacharias spoke into the silence. "We have a delightful meal that we will share." He gestured to where a feast had been set out on the natural table created by one of the fallen spiritwood trees. Throughout the meal, Zacharian was focused on the beautiful Estolia. She spoke of her father, sister, and brothers with love, explained that she was moved to seek out Pequeño after the Divinatra told her it held her destiny. "Whatever happened to the Cinderellan?" he asked her. This was the first time he thought of the ship that brought her to him. It had been pursuing the Dia de Promesa when he passed out. "As your brother predicted," Estolia said, "the ship was wrecked." She looked grim. "The Zitharafin were pacing us. We saved 4. Hanith, my maid, 2 sailors, and Esteban." "What happened then?" Zacharian asked. He had been in the Spirit Grove since their return. "They are still here. Esteban will be returned to Palmyra, I am told." "And the 2 sailors? Your maid?" Her smile was so beautiful, he had trouble interpreting her response. Eventually the meaning of her words settled into his mind. "Hanith asks to remain. As do the 2 sailors. They have been welcomed and numbered among Estolians. Esteban does not ask to remain, and I do not think he would have been welcome." "What will happen with him?" he asked. He had mixed feelings about the man. His actions, however diabolical, had brought him his Estolia. "Amador insists, and your father agrees, that Esteban must return to Palmyra where the Septenatro and my father will be told of his actions. He will be sanctioned. The ownership of his estate is in dispute. If he loses his lands, as he has lost his crew and his ship, then he will lose everything. I have asked that my letter to my father precede Esteban's return. The Dia de Promesa will depart for Palmyra the day after we come out of seclusion." Satisfied that justice would be served, Zacharian was distracted by the beautiful woman across from him. His eyes met hers, and he took in the rosy glow of her cheeks, the shifting facets of her aura, and the swell of her breasts.